What is going on, YouTube? My name is Lucas, and today's video is going to be on Workhorse, but just not any Workhorse video. This is going to be the aftermath of their Q2 earnings. And yes, that does sound negative because it was negative. But in all honesty, I've seen a ton of positive information from this. And if you're interested on the positivity and where this stock could go from here, I suggest you stay tuned right after this. I don't know why, but every time I think of Workhorse, I think of Old Town Road, the song Old Town Road. I'm gonna take my horse to the... I don't know. But hey guys, in all seriousness, Workhorse did have a down quarterly earnings, and we're gonna break into that. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys up front, and I really want to dive into this thing from a personal opinion standpoint. You know, there are so many people out there that are doing YouTube videos on Workhorse, and I think that's awesome because a lot of people obviously see the profitability and the benefits of Workhorse. I think that, you know, in the long term, because this is a long-term play, it's gonna be profitable. Now, where I'm going with this is that in my personal opinion, I think today's negative quarterly earnings just gave a buying opportunity for the people who are taking this thing seriously. I really do. It obviously spiked up early on. It shot up right before the earnings, and then we've really honestly just had a down day for the whole day. And we'll get into the chart, but you know, honestly, I got more shares, and the reason is because it just gave me as an investor believing in a company more opportunity. So I got 100 more. The absolute enjoyment of listening to this entire earnings call, and the reason is because I really am invested deeply into this company, so I want to hear everything they had to say. Plus, I got to provide you guys videos. So we're going to swing on over here, and we're going to give you the highlights from that earnings call. So swinging on over here. So they officially began production and delivered 3 C-Series electric step vans to Ryder Systems Inc. and Electric Vehicle Fleet Solutions. Now, I'm not going to be negative at all. I think everything that they presented was positive and it was heading in the right direction. The only thing that I saw that was down was numbers. So you're going to sense and feel the positivity coming from me because I think this company used Q2 as literally the foundation for they're going to build the entire house moving forward. I mean, they really are. Q3 and Q4 of this year is going to be outstanding. And I'm calling it right now. So continuing back over here, they became the first and only medium-duty battery electric vehicle BEV OEM to receive approvals from both Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, as well as the California Air Resources Board, CARB, permitting the company to sell vehicles in all 50 states. I don't need to say any more about that. I mean, if they are the only ones, who's going to compete against them? There's nobody out there that is doing what they're doing and has gotten the certifications and the approvals that have needed to be done in all 50 states. I mean, this is awesome. I'm that right there alone is just made me so ecstatic because it's like, man, it's finally starting to set in. Hearing their CEO say this stuff, I was like, I need to buy more. Continuing on, they reaffirmed their previous production and delivery target of 300 to 400 vehicles in 2020. And guys, this is another one of my personal opinions. I honestly think that they took the time and effort to perfect and get all the certifications. It's stated right there. They wanted to make sure that they were the only one to be able to say, hey, we're CARB, approved. We have every approval we need for the EPA. And on top of that, we have to crack into the horsefly. And there's some information that really came out on that. This is phenomenal. Climb on board. Obviously, it wouldn't be a quarterly earnings without a timeline. And that timeline really kind of hit home with me. And just to hear the confidence in Dwayne Hughes' voice as he's going through all this information, you could really tell that even though they didn't hit numbers, he is super excited about where his company is headed. I mean, he was just giving information and he was going into detail, and it got me pumped. And that's what made me want to bring you guys this video. So I'm going to swing on over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you that timeline and really give you that sense of accomplishment and just the excitement that he was putting out. So swinging on over here. So in May of 2020, they joined a small UAV coalition as an associate member alongside leading consumer and technology companies. I'm not going to dive all the way into that. Basically what it is they partnered and were working with the Horsefly with multiple other companies on kind of their, unmanned aerial systems. In June 2020, they added to the broad market Russell 3000 index at the conclusion of the Russell's annual reconstitution. That was just major news, and I do believe the stock jumped quite a bit that day. Halfway through the year, July 2020, they were awarded the Executive Order A4450003 from CARB. Basically what they are saying is that they're designating the C-Series vehicle as a zero emission in the state of California, and it's permitting all vehicles to be sold in all 50 states. I mean, this, in my opinion, slaps the sticker of just major approval on every one of these vehicles. I think this is just the biggest, if not, going to be the biggest accomplishment that they have going forward for a while. Obviously, if they get the United States Postal contract, that's going to probably be right there with this. But for them to be the only mid-size, all-electrical vehicle to have the capabilities to be approved by the California the CARB, that is just huge. Every time I read that, it just gets me even more excited because they're the only one. Continuing with July, they delivered 2 C1000 electric step vans for the initial use through Ryder Systems, and everybody, seemed like, oh, that's not very many. 3. The same thing happened with UPS. They continued to provide, the vehicles to them. They got reviews. They got people to test them out, and they got their opinions on what would make their job efficient. Hey, we're not just going to give you a vehicle and then expect you to just go out and drive it and just be satisfied. We want to know your thoughts. We want to know what changes need to be made to make your job easier. I'm so hyped, guys. I'm probably going to wake my neighbor up right now. But that's what they were trying to do. Yes, they only made the 3 vehicles. Big freaking deal. We're moving forward. We got the 3 vehicles that they're requested. And now, how many are they going to put out in quarter 3? How many are they going to put out in quarter 4? So be excited. Of course, must just have something with the month of July because they just keep piling on the news. So we're going to swing back over here. And obviously, they closed a $70 million financing through a senior secured convertible note. I've talked about that in my videos. That was huge news. And the reason is because they're building up their funds, because obviously they need to if they're going to be acquiring the United States Postal Service contract. I mean, they're going to have a place that's going to be able to really put out some production because, well, the United States Postal Service, they're going to be wanting their vehicles. Continuing on in the month of July, they received initial purchase order of 20 C1000 trucks from eTrucks LLC, a Cincinnati-based newly launched truck buyer, reseller, and financer. I do remember that day pretty well, and I don't think the stock reacted like people thought it would positively. I just don't think it was just a monster uptrend that day. Continuing on in July, they obtained the HVIP eligibility from CARB. Another, CARB-related topic, and it's amazing. They qualified for certain Workhorse C-Series models for monetary vouchers up to $50,000 per vehicle. That is just outstanding news. And then in August 2020 is when they announced that Lordstown would be doing the reverse merger, and that is going to be with Diamond Peak. And when they announced that, obviously Workhorse owns a 10% stake, and they have a royalty on the Endurance that Lordstown will be producing. And so for every truck that, Lordstown produces, Workhorse will be receiving a royalty off of that. That was just monster news. And on top of that, Lordstown expects to be trading on the NASDAQ as RIDE in the Q4. So in October, November, December, we're going to be riding off into the sunset. And I'm excited for that too, because I'm an investor. Let's go.